right.
You're in the show. Everyone can see you.
All right.
No pressure.
I know. All right. I think we are live. Dynamocoin's first AMA, our little crypto show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Joe, and that's Sean right there, the creator of Dynamocoin. And we're just going to go over the project and talk about, you know, what's so special about Dynamocoin. So Sean, Neil, the creator of Dynamocoin, explain a little bit about your blockchain.
Sure. So it is a copy of Bitcoin. It's a forked from Bitcoin, and then we heavily modified it. So it's got a very firm technical foundation. Almost 10 years that Bitcoin's been around. We've got a number of very unique technical enhancements that we've done to it that give it some interesting value propositions. One of the things that we've created is a proof of work system for miners that's uses a custom script that can be modified on chain. So if ASICs ever emerge, we can kick them off the chain really simply. But because just knowing that it's such a flexible proof of work algorithm, we feel like ASIC manufacturers will probably never look to try to build devices for the chain. So that's one of the first things that we did. Yep, go ahead.
No, I was pulling this up, but yeah, go into a little bit more of what are the differences between Dynamo and some of the other blockchains.
Mm-hmm. So it is going to be hybrid proof of work and proof of stake. So most blockchains are one or the other. That's one of the very fundamental differences, and that goes to the depth of the security of the system. So proof of work has the limitation of being able to be attacked by what they call a 51% attack, which means that a majority player can come in and basically, hack the system by overpowering it with a bunch of miners. Not so much of a concern for some of the larger ones, but for smaller blockchains like ours, it's definitely feasible. It has happened to even some of the medium-sized blockchains. So just being a pure proof of work blockchain, it has its own risks. Proof of stake, pure proof of stake blockchains have a different kind of risk. It's called nothing at stake. And they basically, people who stake their coins can build on any blockchain that they want. And they can cause havoc in the system by creating all kinds of forks and basically grinding the system to a halt. So this blockchain has a composite security model that uses both proof of work and proof of stake. We're not implementing the proof of stake yet, but it's planned for when we get to about 1 million blocks that have been issued. We just wanted to make sure we have a lot of blocks out there before we do proof of stake. So,
how about for people that are trying to grasp the understanding of why is there mining and in general and proof of stake and all that? Why not just buy the coin? Explain to people why you mine, why you do those, why those methods exist.
Yep. So the blockchain is literally blocks, and they are literally chained together. And the record of all the transactions and everything that happened on the block is is the fundamental premise of a blockchain technology. And those blocks have to be created somehow. So there's a schedule and there's rewards that are given. All those things collectively are called tokenomics. So it defines how new blocks are created. And in the process of creating blocks, you create new coins. And so that's how you, for lack of a better word, print money. And so those things, whether it's proof of work or proof of stake and the creation of blocks, are all integral to the economic ecosystem of the blockchain. That is literally how new coins come into existence. So all those coins that people are buying on the exchanges were created as part of the process of either mining or staking, or both.
But you know, a lot of chains are trying to go, like Ethereum's going away from it, and Cardano's been away from it for a long time. Is there a purpose for keeping it, or what's the pros and cons of having it?
Proof of work. Yeah, proof of work is generally regarded as a more secure method because miners are, let's just call it greedy, and not in a negative way. But there's the ecosystem of the users, which users are the people who buy and sell the coins, send them around, use them for some utility. And then there's the miners, which are just contributing hash power, which is, again, computers, energy, to secure the blockchain. The miners have no real vested interest in the chain and what the users do. And so there's that inherent antagonistic relationship, which creates better security. So there's all these miners that are in their own camps competing for the reward. And they have no incentive to cheat the system, right? They're trying to make money off of the blockchain to sell their coins to other people who want to invest. And so it creates just a much more secure system because of that tug of war between the miners and the users. With proof of stake, you have much less of that. It's a much more, call it holistic ecosystem. So usually the people who are staking coins are also those who are vested in the ecosystem itself. So you think about Ethereum, who are the people who are going to stake coins? Well, it's the people who are also going to use it. So it's like people like exchanges or people like a DEX or something like that. People who are going to have a whole lot of coins anyway and have a vested interest in it. You lose that tug of war between the two. The problem with proof of work, as we all know, is that it uses a lot of energy. And so that's why we went with a hybrid, where it's going to be both, but we'll have fewer miners because there's an opportunity to stake coins as well.
Talk about one of the important points of having the blockchain too is we're going to go to the NFTs. And in the news right now, a lot of people, they hear NFTs, they just think of artwork and buying artwork, digital art. To me, it's almost like buying a digital baseball card that you're saving. And that's the only thing people, I think, right now, majority of people see it as. But there are many uses for NFTs. Let's go into that a little bit. What other things they could be used for?
So if you think just at its core, what is an NFT? Non-fungible token. It's an individual thing. So one of the things you might think about is single-use coupons, right? So something that when it gets redeemed, it can't be used again. And so a retailer can issue 1 million coupons and have them be sent to users, and then the users can pick up some kind of mobile device or something and have it be recorded on the blockchain that thing was used, so no one else can use it, right? So single-use things for sure. Admission tickets, concert tickets, any kind of thing where you want to have a venue where you're controlling admission. You want to be able to identify that person is the owner, and that once it's redeemed, it'll never be redeemed again. The blockchain is very good at doing that in a distributed and trustless way, where you don't have to worry about a central system that can be corrupted or counterfeited or any of those kinds of things. So anything that's single use.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to go into the next question. Is it's going to change the marketplace in a whole very soon, and the way everybody does business in general. I mean, it seems like it's going to be a part of every business.
I think that NFTs in particular are disruptive. There's definitely business disruptors there. People are still working it out, and there's so much just scamminess around crypto right now. The business adoption is slow because there's so many rug pulls and other kinds of nasty things that people don't really understand or not related to blockchain. But those things need to get worked out for sure. But yeah, I see just huge adoption of blockchain technology, not only NFTs, but in particular smart contracts as well. Those two things are super powerful, and even together they're even more powerful.
Not to detour a little bit, let's go into the rug pull a little bit, so people are a little less fearful of. You kind of can smell them out pretty easily. I mean, the safe moons and things like that, they're kind of obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So most of those rug pulls are based on what they call an ERC20 token or a BEP20 token. So the tokens are a lot like NFTs, frankly. They are chains within a chain. So an ERC20 token is a token that's built on Ethereum, and a BEP20 token is a token that's built on the Binance Smart Chain, which is just a copy of Ethereum, basically. And so people can create SafeMoon token, which is an ERC20, and then they basically do like an IPO, but instead they do what they call an ICO, whatever. And people buy those coins. But the problem is, because the token is based on a smart contract, if you don't understand what that smart contract is doing, at any time, the owner may be able to remove all the liquidity from the smart contract. So all these people are saying, I'm giving you Ethereum, you're giving me back SafeMoon. And let's not pick on them, because they're actually not possible to rug pull. Their contract is actually secure. But, you know, we'll just say that, right? Safe, I don't know, Safe Chihuahua or something, right? You know, so I'm giving you Ethereum and you're giving me Safe Chihuahua, right? Like, at any time, the owner of that contract may be able to just remove all of the Ethereum that's in that contract, in which case everybody's just sitting there with a whole bunch of Safe Chihuahua and no way to trade it ever. That's what a rug pull is. Okay. And it unfortunately does happen.
And talk to this as a, you know, we're talking about NFTs and how the blockchain works, and that's what we've gone into. But how, when you look at the trading, it's almost like the stock market. And how do these cryptocurrencies end up becoming valued? And they kind of, it's like a stock market that doesn't close.
So, you know, how does anybody value anything, right? What's a bar of gold worth, or a share of IBM? You know, these things trade in multiples of their potential future value. And so when you think about what is a blockchain, what can it do, right? Ethereum, it does a lot. Sure, Cardano does a lot. Bitcoin, you know, not so much. It was the first one and certainly the largest by market cap, but it has really very little functionality, unfortunately. And I think you start to see some of these other popular voices coming out, Mark Cuban and these kinds of people, saying that Ethereum and Cardano and other smart contract-based chains have intrinsic value, right? They can actually do something. Whereas Bitcoin is more like gold. It doesn't actually, it's not it can't run a program. Mm-hmm. And so you have to think about, you know, what's going to be the future value? Who's going to use this coin? How's it going to be adopted into commercial enterprise? And who are the people behind it that can attract that, right? It's a lot about the people on the team. And, you know, do you have a group of people that can, you know, that are positioned to approach different commercial enterprises and get them engaged in your coin, right? Clearly, Ethereum has done that very well, and they're reaping the rewards of that in their own value, as have many of the other top 100 cryptos. But yeah, I think that's how cryptos are ultimately going to be valued. Now, you know, you have Dogecoin that does nothing and is a meme. But again, you have Elon Musk saying, hey guys, you should really implement smart contracts so that you can put value, you know, take your fame and turn it into something that's useful. Because right now you're just a store of value. So
where do you, I'd say most of the market when it comes to cryptocurrencies don't have an active use yet. And I think that's a lot of discussion is what the active uses are, and everybody celebrates when they figure out they have one. What do you see the first thing hitting is going to be the big, besides the NFTs, obviously, is really going to initiate first?
I think one of the lowest bars to entry is online gaming. So, and I think you could see that there's a coin called Engine. It's ENJIN. Mm-hmm. They are starting to do that, right? So the theory is that there are people who want to invest in it just to, you know, for price appreciation. Mm-hmm. And there are people who are going to create it or buy it or mine it or something else through the process of playing an online game. And so I think you can see those kinds of things, that it's a super low bar to entry. There's no compliance. There's no risk. There's no none of this sort of heavy duty commercial things you have to worry about. Security is not really an issue. So online gaming I can see is one of the big things. You see Decentraland doing some of that stuff too, where they're selling in-game. I don't know if you'll call it a game, but in-game real estate or in virtual reality real estate, for tokens that can be translated to fiat. So I see that as probably one of the first things that will really take hold. And there's lots of projects out there that are building games based on crypto, particularly like massively multiplayer online games. So you get that social component, which just enhances the trading.
Well, let's talk about I guess the processing speeds. That's a big deal. Bitcoin's very slow, Ethereum's very slow, and talk about that a little bit. The importance of that, obviously, but for those that don't understand that whole area and why it's such a big concern, because it can take 3-4 hours before something gets processed.
Yep. So people, when they say, I want to use Bitcoin to buy something, in a realistic sense, that's not really possible. All of those things are not done in a decentralized way. It's usually with a trusted wallet where the funds are drawn down off of something that's already proven. So the whole issue is how quickly do you issue new blocks, and how quickly are transactions mined into those blocks? So when I walk up to the counter and pay $1 for my Coke, and it takes 40 milliseconds for Visa to clear that transaction, well, you have to think that actually it takes 10 minutes for Bitcoin to clear that transaction, but actually not even really, because there's always the possibility that some other miner may have mined the block at the same time, and the system has to self-resolve, which is the thing that's called consensus. And so typically what people say is a confirmed block is about 6 blocks in Bitcoin. So you're actually looking at about an hour. So to say, I'm going to transfer Bitcoin from my wallet to your wallet, and I'm going to buy a soda with that, probably not. So there are other chains that have come up to deal, that have implemented different schemes. BSV, the Bitcoin Satoshi version, right? So they basically said, we're going to increase the block size, and so we can just get a whole bunch more transactions involved. And then you have other chains that increased the emission time. So instead of 10 minutes, Ethereum is 13 seconds. And so they increase the transaction throughput that way. So the problem is the more blocks you have issued, and the quicker they are, the more chance there is for a fork, because so many miners are working so quickly that forks don't resolve after 1 or 2 chains are built, but maybe 4 or 5. So the faster you emit blocks, the longer you have to wait before you can really say that it's a confirmed transaction. So I think Ethereum is around 10, which means about 2 minutes. So it's far better than Bitcoin. The problem is that Ethereum has a small block size. They're still at 2 megabytes. And so they're still a little bit bandwidth limited.
So you think like the South American, was it El Salvador, saying they're going to start using Bitcoin? Then how are they going to actively use that? So they do it through trusted wallets. So it's through a hosted wallet service where people like Coinbase, right? So when you have your quote unquote your Bitcoin on Coinbase, it's actually in a wallet that's held by Coinbase. And so Coinbase doesn't worry about if you're going to double spend or anything else, because they control it end to end. It's only when you have things like a cold wallet or a paper wallet where only you have the key. So when, say, a transaction comes in from outside of Coinbase, you have to wait for those funds to become available. And it depends on the chain and whatever else, but that's all centralized. So when people, say, hey, I've got this mobile app and I'm going to send you 10 Bitcoin, you can see that the transaction is pending. It sits in something called the mempool, but it's not actually confirmed, for over an hour. And so that's all done with centralized trusted wallets. So people are going to be using it back and forth, but technically the government is going to own or have the keys to the Bitcoin.
It may
They're
be,
going to be
but
trading it.
whoever that central authority is, it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
it's, and so you've sort of circumvented a lot of the value of the anonymity and the decentralized portion, right? If that central wallet authority goes away, if it's not yours, if you don't hold the keys, it's not your coins. So, yeah.
And then let's go back to, of course, to Dynamo, and Bitcoin is much different. Dynamo is more of a closer blockchain to Ethereum, or what would you say, more of a Cardano or Ethereum, or because you have other active uses.
Right. So we've. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying. So, give me a little difference between Ethereum and Dynamo.
Probably the main difference is block size. So they have a 2 megabyte block size. We have a 10 megabyte block size. So we have a little bit more transaction throughput. That does cause full node operators to have a little bit more equipment. But remember, Ethereum was designed, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. And so my opinion is that network throughput and overall compute capacity has advanced enough to where, 5 times the block size should not be a problem for really anyone. So larger block size. We have our own virtual machine. It's not the Ethereum virtual machine. So there's, some differentiator there. We've been able to do a ground up design of the virtual machine and how things are incorporated in there, but largely the same in terms of executing smart contracts. But probably the key differentiator is native support for NFTs. So you have some chains that have NFTs on chain. Things like Raven is probably the most well-known one. And then you have some things that are native virtual machines like Ethereum and Cardano. But our chain has both. So we support NFTs on chain and we support a virtual machine. And most importantly, we support virtual machine control of NFTs. So no one else is doing that as of right now. It's not a particular. It's not like a big mental leap, right? So somebody's going to think of this, but we're the first ones working on it.
A lot of people are going to listen to that and not understand what you were just saying. So just, I guess, explain a little bit about you're able to put data on a chain, on a chain, and someone can't take. It's a proof that it's there and it can't go away and it can't be copied. Explain. Just go into that a little bit. Let's try to give it to.
Let me give you a real world. Yeah, I'll make it concrete. So let's say that I'll create an NFT. I'll keep it simple and just say it's a series of images that I've designed, right? So this classic artwork use case, right? I'm an artist. I want to sell my artwork, but I don't want to do it with any intermediary. I don't want to have to worry about contracting a website or having to use a payment provider or even revealing my own identity necessarily, right? I want to do this completely anonymously. So I can create the NFT. I can publish it on the blockchain, and I could say it's series 1, series 2, series 3, whatever. And then I can create a smart contract which says this thing will be for sale for the next 7 days, and you can send your Dynamo coins to this contract, and the contract will hold your coins. And if somebody else bids higher than the current value, it will release the coins back to the lower bidder and then hold the next highest bidder. And then at the end of 7 days, whoever is the highest bidder, they automatically get the NFT. All of those things are done without any interaction from anyone, right? So no chain has the ability to do that right now. It's all completely anonymous. It's completely trustless. Anybody can go read the contract and say, yep, this thing is legit. It's going to actually give me my money back if there's another higher bidder. If I'm the highest bidder, I know I'm going to get ownership of the NFT. And so it creates a zero intermediary marketplace. Just an example, but there's lots of things like that people could do. So combining smart contracts and NFTs allows for some very powerful business use cases.
How about I know maybe I don't know if this is part of the conversation or maybe I'm venturing off, but it was more of a curiosity to me. You know, in the days of like Napster, not to compare, but like people were putting things up and then Napster got in trouble. You know, who's to say somebody just puts up, you know, Metallica's song and
Yep.
tries to sell it as that? Then who gets in trouble there and how does that work?
It's a huge problem. So, you know, the Bitcoin blockchain has child porn stored on it, as an example. And anyone who's running a full node of Bitcoin Core is storing child porn on their own computers.
Wow.
So it's a huge problem, right? So and NFTs even more so, because you're enabling people to store binary information and enabling access to it in a huge way. And it's even a little more complicated than that, because you may live in a jurisdiction where some things are legal that are not legal in some other jurisdiction. So you know, I may live in China, and you know, the Communist Manifesto is not, you know, I can't store that on my computer. I don't know, whatever. You know, I'm just making things up here, but right there. So the nuance around what you would be comfortable to store is really important to grapple with. And so the NFT regime that I created allows for deletion of NFTs and even completely not accepting them in the first place. So as a full node operator, you have complete control over what you want to store. And if there is a, you know, quote unquote trusted source, so let's say that AMI identifies themselves through a certain address and says, we're going to send out takedown notices, or RIAA, right? Like we're going to send out takedown, right? So if somebody uploads the complete collection of Britney Spears and you want to be in compliance with not storing that stuff, you can say, okay, I know that these guys are the trusted source of RIAA or whatever else. Any deletion request that comes along from them, I'll take that and I'll delete out whatever they say, you know, takedown requests are. Same thing with FBI or whatever else, you know, whoever, and other governments could implement the same kind of thing. So the chain is very flexible about facilitating selective takedown requests. Now, of course, you know, some jerk can just go on and say, hey, delete everything, right? You probably don't want to accept those ones, but there is a regime in place that allows for, you know, anything, right? You can imagine any sort of nasty thing getting up there, and you want to be able to delete it. As a full node operator, I don't want to be forced to take, you know, store revenge porn or you know, child porn or whatever, right? Like I want to be able to filter that stuff out. So yep. So very important, and that's a unique feature to Dynamo.
Okay, yeah, because I thought that's going to be definitely a future problem with a lot of these chains, is people putting stuff up there. You know, you have a lot of censorship on YouTube. I see people putting stuff up onto the blockchain so it doesn't get deleted. But are there blockchains that it I guess you can't delete it off, or
almost every blockchain?
Okay.
Because the blockchain by definition is an immutable record, right? It cannot be changed, because one block builds on the previous block, and if you change the previous block, you break all blocks that follow it. So the way I designed this, the NFT information is stored in a separate database. It has what they call a security hash. So, you know, in the security hash, which has no information in it whatsoever, it's just a random number, is stored on the blockchain. And so you know that the file that you're getting is the actual file that was originally uploaded. There's a guarantee of authenticity, but that hash does not have any intrinsic information in it. And so if somebody uploads something illegal, they can then accept the takedown notice, the deletion notice that comes again across the blockchain. There's a blockchain announcement, if you will. Every full node gets the announcement, and every full node then just deletes it from their database if they choose to. So
now making an NFT on Dynamo, I was just trying to go into more of I guess a positive realm of Dynamo and the good things that it does. Ethereum, when you're making an NFT on what Rarible or something like that, it's about $75. What's the cost if you're going to burn one and make one on Dynamo?
So the transaction cost, there's no like set fee. It's the transaction cost is you pay the network fee, which is akin to the gas on Ethereum. So however big your thing is, that's how much it's going to cost to mine it into the chain. So if it's 10 megabytes, that might be, I don't know, 0.01 Dynamo. And if Dynamo's $100, then that's $1, right? So it's really just based on the size. So the aggregate size of everything that you create is what you're going to pay. It's just in the native currency.
A lot of cryptocurrencies are written in different languages. And that's something I really don't understand as much about. And is there any reason for one language compared to the other? And is it more efficient to do it in one, like Cardano and Haskell? Like, I don't know it. I just hear it, but that doesn't mean I understand it.
Yeah, you're getting into like evangelist territory.
Oh, okay.
So, I've programmed in a lot of languages in a lot of different scenarios. Most Bitcoin or Bitcoin forks are using C++, and that's for performance reasons. So C++ is one of the lowest level languages that you can program, and it gives you an awful lot of control over how you move data around, how you allocate memory, how you create structures and control loops and stuff like that. There are newer languages that are higher level. C# is a notable example. C# is great for writing like business kind of applications, and it's mildly performant. But C++ is probably, the same programs in C and C++. C++ can be 10 times faster, orders of magnitude faster. But it's much harder to develop in as well. So, to each his own. I think you have to know a lot of languages and then make some decisions about what the tools are that are already out there. For example, we're going to implement a Chrome plugin wallet. The only way to implement that is JavaScript. So in some cases you're forced to use certain languages. Right now we're using C# and C++ in our ecosystem and some PHP, but yeah, it's largely a personal choice in most cases.
Okay, well, I know, so we're running out of time a little bit. Talk about people that never mined before and they want to get into mining, and if they want to mine Dynamo, you go to the website. But how hard is it? Explain how easy it is for people that have never really did it before.
There's a couple of friction points that we need to remove. One of them being creating a wallet. So you have to create a wallet in order to mine too. And creating a wallet means downloading our full node software and syncing to the blockchain. When we create the Chrome plugin, that will be eliminated. So it'll be much easier to create a wallet. Downloading the software and running it, it's pretty straightforward. We've got some instructional videos about how to do that, one of which I have to update because we just got some pool-based mining. But, we've got, 30 or 40 people actively mining right now, and people who are not, particularly technically oriented to doing it. So it's mostly just downloading an executable, running a batch file, and it kind of goes.
You kind of get your feet wet on something in a whole new world for a lot of people.
And we've got a great Discord community where a lot of people are helping each other out. Of course, I'm there very frequently as well, and hopped on a bunch of screen shares with people, just helping them get started too. So we have a very supportive community.
Okay, I'm going to go to the website real quick and kind of show the website for people learning the new software over here. Let's show the website, and I guess a white paper is important especially in this world. It's like the number one thing people want to see. And I guess talk about a couple of the highlights of Dynamo in this white paper.
I think one of the founding premises here is that it is a community coin. And the whole genesis for me creating this coin was that Ethereum's going to proof of stake, and I needed to find another coin to mine because I had invested a whole bunch of money in hardware and I didn't want to have that be to waste. And so I got involved with a whole bunch of other different projects and found that all of those projects were super centralized, right? Like you cannot get your voice heard whatsoever for the most part on the majority of projects that have any sort of liquidity and are mineable. And so from the very core, this was designed to combat centralization, right? To make sure that the holders of the coin had a voice, to make sure that those things were autonomous, that people didn't need to get in between the decision process. That if somebody said, I want to propose that the coin be changed from yellow to green, that we want to change the logo, that they have the ability to do that, that people vote on it, and if people approve it, that it actually happens. And so all of those community governance things are built into the very foundation of Dynamo. So I would say that, you know, above all, the idea was that this is a community-driven coin.
Okay. Trying to think of anything else right now. We're going to try to do this as many times a week as we can for everybody to get a little more comfortable with everybody and also answer any questions. I don't know how many other blockchain creators get online and do questions and answers like this, it's, you know, on YouTube with people. So we'll try to do that. Sean, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll try to come back tomorrow and do this again.